Will those going to heaven ever return to earth? One concern that some may have about going to heaven is that they might never see the earth again. One Jehovah's Witness from Puerto Rico with whom I discussed the prospect of being part of the Bride of Christ declined the opportunity. He responded, "I want to stay on earth because I enjoy eating my mangoes and papaya too much," paraphrased. In his mind, anyone who was part of the Bride of Christ and went to heaven would disappear, never to be seen again. And, if he were to vanish to a heaven-only existence, he could never enjoy fruits again. Interestingly, he is not alone in drawing that conclusion. However, is this what the Bible teaches about members of the Bride of Christ? To answer that question, let's first go back to the Hebrew Scriptures' example of the Levitical priesthood, which typifies Christ and the Church. As the high priest, Aaron typified Jesus, while his sons and the Levites in general pictured the Church. The most holy place in the temple stood for heaven and the presence of Jehovah. Before the priest entered the most holy, he had to put on the sacred garments, Leviticus chapter 16 verse 4. However, as he left, he was to remove the holy garments, Leviticus chapter 16 verse 23. The putting on of holy garments represented the changing to the spiritual nature before entering the presence of God. Likewise, removing those holy garments would symbolically represent the changing to the physical nature after the priest left the most holy. Therefore, this process of changing sacred garments would represent how members of the body of Christ could change nature from spiritual to physical and vice versa. However, you might wonder what scriptural proof, apart from Leviticus, there is for proving that members of the Church will have a physical presence on the earth. Many passages in the Greek Scriptures show that the Church will be present on the earth. First, we have Jesus' words as he ushered in the memorial ceremony with the disciples. These words are found in Matthew chapter 26 verse 29, NWT, where we read, "But I say to you, I will by no means drink again any of this product of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in the kingdom of my Father." Please note that Jesus said he would not drink wine again until he drinks with his disciples in the kingdom. Did Jesus mean that symbolically? I don't think so, because they were drinking literal wine then, and there is no evidence that his words were symbolic. So this suggests that Jesus will ceremonially drink wine with all his disciples in the kingdom. This ceremonial act meant they could also enjoy papaya and mangoes if they wanted to. The next proof is Revelation chapter 21 verse 2, NWT, where we read, "I also saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God and prepared as a bride adorned for her husband." We know the New Jerusalem is the new government that will rule the world. However, please take note of the words, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. This bride would be the body of Christ. Interestingly, she is described as coming down out of heaven. If she is coming down, where is she going? It would be logical to assume she is coming down to the earth. The last passage I will use to prove this point will be quoted from the English Standard Version, ESV. I am quoting from that translation deliberately, and I will explain why later. Revelation chapter 5 verse 10 says in the ESV, "And you have made him a kingdom and priests to our God, and they shall reign on the earth." Notice that the priests, the Church, will reign on the earth. Most translations I checked said either on the earth or upon the earth. However, The NWT says, over the earth, which confuses the text. I believe they changed the text from on to over, because the idea of the anointed ruling on the earth conflicted with their teachings. The word used for upon or on is epi from Strong's English Concordance 1909, which means upon. Therefore, on the earth, or upon the earth, is a correct translation of those words. Considering these words in Matthew chapter 26 verse 29, Revelation chapter 21 verse 2, and Revelation chapter 5 verse 10 together, the evidence is strong that the Church will conduct its work on the earth. So, although being a spirit-begotten body, they will have an earthly presence. Therefore, they will likely function like the Levitical priests who changed their garments as they entered and exited the Most Holy. So, likewise, it would be reasonable to assume that the body of Christ will also have access to heaven and earth. If we are going to serve humanity and teach them, it would be logical that we would teach them on earth. Conclusion. We, who have dedicated our lives to serve Jehovah and follow his Son Jesus, did so with a willingness to make whatever sacrifice we have to. We are willing to lose everything and anything, including our lives. Because of that willingness, God will reward us richly. Revelation chapter 2 verse 10. Let us not hesitate to accept the call to become part of the bride of Christ. This opportunity is a special privilege that comes with trials and tribulations. Still, eventually, we will be rewarded with a crown. 1 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 25.